we are just asking for your name, because sometimes people's names show up, not the real name, on Zoom. Your comfort level with Canvas, one being that you are confused, and then 10 means like you're going to go apply for a job at Canvas. And again, like even Mads and I are not a 10. But, and then what grade level you teach, just so we know like kind of some background information as we're presenting. We did this presentation on Tuesday, and you know, as we started talking, it was in presenting, we called it like a virtual throw up, kind of where we've taken everything from the last 11 to 12 weeks that we've done and put it in 1 hour PowerPoint. So one thing to keep in mind, like as you guys are participating, is to think about like what is one thing that you would want to take away, and try next year, or try to like, you know, just perfect over the summer. And we also are offering office hours tomorrow between 11 and 12. We're going to send out, the Zoom link is in our PowerPoint, but we are going to send it out via email also, just in case you have any like more personal questions that we can help answer.
Yeah, or even if you just want to figure out, like, I like what you are doing, but how do I make it work for me? We can help you kind of one-on-one figure that out.
So it is 101, and we have 25 people. So we'll maybe wait one more minute just so everybody can fill out the chat, and then get going here. And then I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to stay like not muted as much as I can, just because Mads and I kind of like jump back and forth with each other, but I do have my 5-year-old home with me, so if there's background noise, just preface that. But okay. So hello everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started. Again, in the chat, just let us know your name, what grade level you teach, if you want to put what content, because you're secondary, and then go ahead and put your comfort level with Canvas. And then what we're going to do is that if you have any questions, like as we're going through, we've split up our PowerPoint into 4 like subsections. So once we get done with like a section, we'll stop and do like some time for some questions. But if you have a question that you're like, oh my God, I need to know right now, go ahead and type it in the chat, and Mads and I are going to like alternate who's going to present. So one of us will do the chat, one of us will be talking, and then we can kind of stop from there. But welcome to how to make your welcoming learning environment in the building, at school, that we miss so much, and cross it over into the digital world. This is for, if again, it's Canvas, so grades 6 through 12 in the secondary level. And then we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. So I am Marlise Burton. I teach 6th grade ELA and AVID and a 7th grade AIS class at Lincoln Middle School. I'm also the Plavet MCL, so there's been a lot of other like stuff that we've had to roll out at our building with that level. And then this is my contact information, where for Fuse, we have to have a Twitter account, and I've had one for a few years. This is my Instagram, which Mads and I both like jumped into that this year, being home with our kids, and then our emails. And then I'll let Gak introduce herself too.
So my name is Mads Gok. I do 7th grade ELA and AVID. And again, below I have my email and my Instagram account, my teacher Instagram account.
Okay. So our 4 parts of our presentation today is we're going to be talking about Canvas overall. We're going to be talking about how we've used Instagram and Canva. So Canva and Canvas are 2 different things. We're going to talk about how we've used Instagram as a social media platform to help with our kiddos, and using Canva as like a digital, like a graphic design platform to help things be more appealing for our kids. We're going to talk about YouTube, and then how we've used office hours in our own like weekly rotation of Zoom meetings, and how we found that to be helpful for our kids. So we've linked on the PowerPoint also. Here is the SESD Padlet that has all the basic information with a lot of videos and like breaking down step by step how to get your kids and parents onto Padlet, and help videos for yourself. that the 4 district PL coaches have put together. So that's also there in case you need that as like a resource. We try to link a bunch of things into the PowerPoint, so then as you like think about it at another time, you kind of have everything there for you. So what we kind of went through is, so Gak and
Hey, can I ask a quick question?
Sure,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
that's fine.
How in the world do I send the chat? I'm sitting here in the chat and I've typed it in.
So
Is there a send?
I think I just hit the enter button.
I just hit enter.
Yeah,
Like enter. I don't see
Like
an
return.
enter.
like how you would
Like
start a new paragraph.
I need your help. So I just typed in my name and the level and what I teach.
So are you on a keyboard or are you on your phone?
I'm on a keyboard.
So then like over where the apostrophe button is, the row where,
Oh, hit the enter.
there you go.
Did it go through?
We will see in a second. And then you should see it in the chat.
I don't see it.
There you go.
Yay.
Bradley Carr.
That's me.
Deputy.
And
Hello.
thank my daughter. Thank my daughter for that.
Thank you, daughter. Listen, it's fine. My son's preschool graduation was on yesterday, and my dad's like, I can't see anybody on this computer. And I was like, well, just like sit there and wait, I guess, and we'll see what happens. So it's still a work in progress. So Mads and I, again, we both teach the AVID elective class at Lincoln, and one class, so my AIS class that I have for 7th grade, she sees for ELA. So there's a lot of things that we've kind of talked about together about how to have some commonalities. So one thing at Lincoln, we've been on Canvas 97% since March 18th. Like all the teachers were putting all their classwork on Canvas. We do obviously have some kids that we're sending home packets to, but as a building, we kind of came up with some norms where we all wanted to have home pages. So then when kids sign on, they're not just linking straight to the modules, but that there's some direction with, our remind codes, our class dojo, YouTube channel, Instagram, etc. We also kind of talked about having a video for how to go through the modules in a screen recording, which we're going to show you how to do that. And then using the module settings when you're creating them and having requirements and prerequisites to force the kids to go in the order that you want. And then when we did our own Zooms with kids, like if we were going to do a lesson or use YouTube, we post it for student reference, even if they couldn't come to the actual class. So those were kind of the main points that I took away from this school year. And then I'm going to let Gak go ahead and talk.
And just before I share you my favorite Canvas tools, we are going to explain to you how to do all of these things. Like I know it just looks like a slide where we threw a lot of information at you, but we are going to explain kind of how to do this and where you would go. My favorite things were the home pages, and Marlise and I do them kind of differently. She uses her Bitmoji and mine is more like words and colors. And then also I try to use images as much as possible to kind of connect me and my students together. So like currently on my Canvas homepage, there's a picture of my cat because all of my kids have been coming to my Zoom, watch him walk across the keyboard every day. So just little things where like we can connect and kind of like see each other in different lenses. Another thing are different icons to represent different ideas, or if I want to show them how to use different things, I'll take a screen grab of things that are on Canvas and plug that in. And then finally, I try to color coordinate as much as possible when presenting the material so that they know kind of how to piece together the information. So this is an example of one of my home pages on Canvas. When my students logged into Canvas on the last week of April, this is what they saw. It didn't take them to the modules. It took them to this page that was going to explain to them what they had to do this week. And on this week, I included a weekly schedule so that they knew every single day what they had to include. And if someone at home were to log in with them, they could also see this schedule too. And it was really good just for student accountability, or if parents were asking, what does my student have to do this week? The moment that they logged into my page, they'd be able to find it. Also, you'll notice that it is color coordinated. So all of the things that are highlighted in orange are the things that they have to do. All of the things in green are kind of just like important. Maybe it's a link, maybe it's a date, but it's all there to kind of guide their reading as they go through it. And then finally, for all of my Canvas homepages, I put on the bottom how they can reach me. So it's got all of the links, it's got all of the different things. So if they know, for example, oh, well, I'm not logged into Talking Points, but I do have the Remind app, all I have to do is enter this code. And I have kept that up there the entire time, because even last week, I still had 3 students join my Remind group, just because whatever method of communication they were working or were using might not have continued to work.
And that like was another point too that I had this week, and I also like wish that I would have kept it up there. So this is my homepage that I have done. We figured out at Lincoln how to do the Bitmoji page. So Sandy Martin is also in this like class, and she did the Bitmoji presentation this week, and it's awesome. And I think that it was recorded, so hopefully that can be sent out if you're looking for that information, or tomorrow during office hours you can hop on and we could take you through it. But like I had a girl this week who she got a new phone, and she got a new phone number, and she couldn't remember the Remind code, so then she messaged me on Canvas. So I think that, you know, as the 12 weeks have gone on, our kids have not necessarily had the same device or phone number or internet access the whole time. So with my homepage, I'm able to link in a Google slide, and then I embed it into my Canvas pages, that there's a link right here. I change my Bitmoji every week, so then they can see like what crazy outfit I have on. Like last week, I think I dressed up as like a shark. And then trying to shout out kids for doing their classwork. Like we had our kids do STAR at Lincoln last week, so trying to shout out those kids and encourage them to take care of that and, you know, do it the right way. And then also on the homepage, I have created only the space where in some of the other Canvas classes that were offered by the PL coaches, I've gotten rid of everything else. So I only want them to access their assignments through the modules. I don't want them to click on quizzes and then see a list of quizzes. Like I want them to go through the modules that way, announcements, and then grades. So again, we're going to go through how to create kind of some modules that encourage student participation, just because it's kind of like that you're the GPS with how you design your module and how you want the kids to access it. And then we're going to take a little bit less time on this slide, just from the feedback from our last presentation, is that we're going to get into our actual Canvas class. But this is an example of what some of our modules look like, where there's the module header with the date, so then they know when they're supposed to be doing it. There's a direction video here that they have to watch, and that's a setting that we're going to show you how to do. And then we use the text headers, which is like life-changing because there's nothing here that they have to click on. It just separates the module into the first part of the week and then the second part of the week. And then we go in, and then they have their different videos and directions and quizzes, etc. Again, screen recordings. So I am extremely OCD about like my classroom and how things operate, and I need to know what every kid is doing all the time. So me doing a Zoom class was very weird for me, and I didn't really like it. So I would do them, and like the same 7 out of my 29 would come, and then I'm like, okay, well the other 15 are missing out or whatever. So how do I get it to them to access? So I have been recording my Zoom lessons, and then I post them on the module for kids to access on their own. And then Gak's going to talk a little bit more about using YouTube as like a platform too, just to record yourself teaching a lesson and sharing your screen with the kids, and then you post the video after you're done. But it's all about like finding like your own style. And then linked down here are some of our videos that we've been using as examples for you to watch on your own, where it just is me going through like, these are your directions for the week. You have to do this poetry video. Here's how you use Edpuzzle in Canvas, etc. So it's really user friendly for the kids. Before we jump into our next piece, are there any questions about what we kind of just gave an overview about with Canvas?
And once again, we're going to actually go into our pages later and show you how to do all of these things. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Okay. So the next thing that Gak and I kind of jumped into was using Instagram with our kids. It just was another way to get them another form of communication. So, and this was before Talking Points was really thrown out at us at Lincoln to use like full on. So we kind of did this a little bit before. But here's an example of a post that I put up for Instagram using Canva. So Canva is a website that's a graphic design website. It's free for the most part. There's some like cute images that are more like you have to pay $1 for, just as like, you know, upcharge, I guess. But trying to make it as easy as possible for kids to see the information, and then making it like really friendly to the eye, that kids are like, oh, well, this is really cool. Because, you know, marketing in any store, like you might go to Target and buy something that has a really flashy packaging versus like the generic kind, because you just think it looks better. So we created public teacher accounts separate from our personal accounts. And again, when you do any type of social media like Twitter or Instagram for your kids, you do have to send the password to your administrators just so they can see what is going on back and forth. But this was a really great way, because then we can post it in our story, and then you can post it on your feed also, just so then the kids can see the different assignments. And then this is the Canva website that we use for free. These are some of the examples of like posters that I've created and flyers for the building for Avid, like our little wicker posters, other posts that we posted. And then I'm gonna let Gak explain a little bit more about her usage of Canva. And then up here is a hyperlink to the website.
I love getting to use Canva, one, because I don't have that teacher handwriting that everyone else was so wonderfully gifted with. My kids all the time are like, Miss, what are you writing? So when it comes time for like anchor charts or things to hang in my room, I was a disaster until I found Canva. And it just makes it where I can design, like, as you can see here, I have my bell schedule. I have my 5 phases of focus note-taking and Costa's levels of questions. I also have some like reassuring things like celebrate progress or you matter, you're not alone. And they're just things that I could print into, I was able to use the district poster printing and have them in my room. But even sometimes for things like the annotation symbols, I might print that out and have my kids put that in the front of their binder so that they can have that forever. And it's just something where it's a little bit nicer to look at. It doesn't have my chicken scratch handwriting all over it, but it's a free resource that you can use just to kind of help you make designs that are easy to read, but also get across all the information that you need. And you can obviously model like colors. And so as you can see and probably guess what colors my classrooms are, it's just a nice way to be able to coordinate and do something, even if you're not the most artistic.
And this is like another plug too that I didn't know about, that using Print Shop, like you can make these posters in Canva or even like on PowerPoint if you're familiar with that, like using different graphics. And you can send it to Print Shop to make your own posters instead of like remaking your own anchor charts. Like I do like making anchor charts. They make me like stress-free, but these are like so cool and I could never do these. So this is something that I learned this year coming to Lincoln, is that make an anchor chart, send it to Print Shop, and then you can get it laminated and you have it forever. And essentially it was free instead of buying an anchor chart like off Teachers Pay Teachers or Amazon or something. Someone did ask a question about the team account versus one person. So Gak and I have our own pages for like our ELA classes, since we see them just for ELA and Avid. But I do know that some people at like Syracuse STEM, they have like a science Facebook page. So like all the teachers are on there. And then I believe they would all have their own passwords, and they can access it and post for kids. And I know some math people do too, but Gak and I have our separate accounts just so it's like separate. And then someone did ask about, are you able to share your Canva page with us? So Canva is kind of like your own like Amazon page. So it's like you have a public list and then like a wish list that's like private. So it's not a social media platform where like you can share other people's posts. I do think that Gak has shared some of these things on Teachers Pay Teachers.
I actually like pay for my account because I run the social media for the master's program that I attend. So I actually use the paid content on here to also make posts for that. So I actually pay for mine. Whereas you can use this site and it's perfectly free and wonderful in the free version. But yeah, I have linked some of these posters that I've actually made onto Teachers Pay Teachers. And if you guys ever like wanted to email me and request that I make something specifically for you, I would do that too.
I have a quick question about that. So since you have the paid account, I've tried to make posters with the free account. I had trouble being able to download the poster as like the poster size in the free account. Do you think it's because you have the paid account that you can send it to Print Shop and do that?
I never thought so. I think I just save it as like, because it has all the different ways that you could save it. So you could save it as a PDF or as a picture. And I always just save it as a PDF. And that way they blow it up in that way. It might,
It
it might
seems
also,
super pixelated that
oh
way.
yeah, interesting.
Um,
I wonder, I've never really even edited the stuff too. I think I've gotten some back that were kind of pixelated, but I think it just depends on like the size that you blow it up.
okay.
Eddie, I'll just chime in. I think yours are like the 11 by 14 posters. They're not like huge poster. Like, I don't know if the person talking is talking about the really large, 24 by 30 posters. They do get pixelated.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to go into is all about Gawk. I did try this where I, went like live on Instagram, and that was really weird. And then I thought things were like backwards. Like I made a whiteboard and I thought I was writing backwards, and then I did it on YouTube and I couldn't see the comments. So it got like really weird that I couldn't manage at the same time. So these are both of our YouTube channel links. Hers is way better. Like she used this a lot more than I did. And then also at Lincoln, we have a like staff Canvas page that had all these resources. And here's a video about how to create your own YouTube channel and how to like set up the settings and stuff. But this is going to be like Gawk talking because I failed as an influencer and I give these people a lot more credit now.
I really loved being able to use YouTube for a couple different reasons. These are kind of just like my reasons for doing it. One, I found that it was a really easy way to teach content, especially if you're somebody who like, that your kids work best when they have things verbally explained to them. And I was able to kind of like prepare lessons again, which it felt like I haven't done in a while, but I like printed out all my materials and I was able to like print out examples of propaganda in World War II and print out maps, and I had my whiteboard there. And so even though you are teaching to a camera and you can't see anyone, it was nice to be able to teach content and like teach under a thematic umbrella again. It does help to be able to connect anywhere with students. So again, when you're able to send them a link to a YouTube video and they can watch it on their own time, they don't have to be available at all the same time, because I know I have students that are logging in at like 10 p.m. when their parents get home and they can use their phone. So they're probably not going to make any of my Zooms, but them being able to use YouTube to see the lessons was really helpful for them. Also, I think it does encourage the fact that students can then create in YouTube once you've mastered YouTube. And I know that that's something that's all very interesting to them. They all have their favorite YouTuber. And I think once you've figured out how to do it, you can then teach them how to do it. And they could be, writing an essay that they present to you on YouTube. And it might just be like a more fun and engaging way for them to create and craft. And then finally, when you're able to do your own YouTube videos, you can personalize it. So I was collecting questions from throughout the week as my students were working with texts. And then on Fridays, when I would do my YouTube videos, I would be able to share those questions and answer them to everyone with the students' permissions, of course. I also was able to give shout outs and even read student responses that I had printed out from Canvas to be like, hey, this is a really good answer I got, and I wanted you all to hear it because I think their analysis is really on point, So it was nice to just be able to kind of have that classroom feel again, even though I knew that they weren't right in front of me. This next slide, it's a screen grab from my YouTube channel, and you're going to notice there are lots of different types of videos that I have on here. For example, I do have instructional videos like how to access STAR. I also have like side-by-side text annotations where I really break down poetry for them, and they can't see me during those videos, but they can hear my voice as I'm explaining to them all the ins and outs of a poem and kind of how all the lines connect. I have a Harry Potter background info where I realized we were reading an excerpt from Harry Potter that happened way later. And so I was able to give them some background information on Harry Potter. And then also you can see like my Code Talker chapters 24 through 29. That's when I was able to like really teach the content with them. And I do embed them right into my Canvas course. So I get the embedded link and they don't have to go to a different browser. They wouldn't look at this page. They would just look at the video. But on my homepage for Canvas, I did have like the link to my channel. So if they did want to go on there and check out all the other videos, they could. And just like anything else, YouTube is all about finding your plan or finding like how the videos are going to work for you. So I kind of broke it down into 3 categories that I was making videos for. Marley's doing they're perfect. Thank you. So, the first is just content lessons where I was able to like really teach them what was going on. The next type of video is more like annotations where you're able to help them break down maybe line by line or paragraph by paragraph what's going on, and you can give direct insight to them with specific vocab, motifs, themes that are going across, and that obviously would be different for every different subject. And the final type of video might be more like how-to videos where you might even give them, you might model a skill for them, whether it be something as simple as like how to log into this page or like modeling like an actual skill for them. And maybe the problem you're working on isn't exactly the one that they're doing, but they're able to draw those parallels. So it kind of like boosts up their confidence when they maybe try something for the first time. And below that, I've given you a couple different examples of things that you could use to record. So for example, I have a Chromebook. So Zoom and I are not friends, but Hippo Video is something that will screen grab and record what's going on my screen. Screencast-O-Matic I know is good for people with Windows. If you have a phone camera, you literally could just set up your phone camera and talk to it. But also you can screen share through Zoom too. And some people like to just hit the record button and record their video on Zoom.
So just a couple questions. So there are a couple different ways that you can put videos on Canvas. So we have embedded them and we can show you how like it pops up. So another thing that we did that we worked really hard with at Lincoln is having everything on Canvas for them. So like we're not saying in the assignment for the week, go to Newsela, pick an article, read it, take the quiz, send me back the message, or go to this Google Doc and fill this out and then send me a link that you're done. So with the kids being home, and we have kids using the district laptops at their own home, if we embed it, even if it's a YouTube video, it still works. And then there also is another way that YouTube is an extension on Canvas where you can add it that way. But a lot of the videos, like I have a MacBook, so I use Zoom when I am recording and I just do it like in a video by myself. And then, or I'll use like QuickTime Player. If you upload that as like a video file, that will work. But how we've been embedding our YouTube videos into our Canvas assignments, that it pops up in the assignment as like they watch it right there, that works, but a link probably wouldn't work when we're back in the building. So we can show you that too. Just again, when you use this, like I have done this at least 3 times where like I've taught a whole lesson on Zoom, shared my screen, and I never recorded it. So just like make sure like when you're doing that, like you hit, like you have a little checklist, like, okay, turn the recording on, make sure your screen is being shared, etc. Because I've done that and I'm like, oh my God, I just did the whole thing. The next thing that we're going to talk about is, I believe Screencastify is the same thing. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't dabbled in that.
I do think they're very similar.
I think it's very similar. So another thing that we did is having office hours for our kids. Also, Kristen Cosgrove, the instructional coach at Lincoln, and we offer office hours every day for 30 minutes. Sometimes it goes over for our teachers from 2:30 to 3, where teachers can hop on and ask for help. But like the last week or so, when I wish I would have done this earlier, is having office hours for our kids. So it's kind of like, okay, we're going to be sitting on Zoom from 12 to 2, hop on whenever you want. Let's check in, talk about your grades. Let's talk about how you've been feeling, especially with, you know, everything that is going on right now in the world. We all know that we probably would be having these conversations with our kids. You know, Gak and I really pride ourselves on the fact that because we have our Avid kids twice a day and like the environment that we create in our classrooms, we really have made it a very safe space for our kids. And it's been very hard not being physically in front of them. with everything that's going on, to like physically see them, to check in and see their demeanor, even though they might say that they're fine or have a lot on their mind. So office hours was a really nice way for us to open up that platform for them. We've utilized like breakout rooms when the kids are coming on. So like if the kids were doing their STAR test, I would put them in their own breakout room so they were by themselves, just kind of like knowing that you were there, kind of like training wheels. And this is something that I wish I would have done a lot more in the beginning, just to have some time to check in with kids, and it worked really well towards the end of the school year. I'm gonna let Gak talk to about what she noticed. Are you there? Or is she frozen? Gak, can you
Hi,
talk?
can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, now I can.
All right, I cut out a little bit. I just really appreciated office hours. I kind of started it from the beginning, just because sometimes I did even have my classes doing different things, where I could set a Zoom meeting then for every single class for every day of the week. But being able to hold office hours, and especially when there were students who like were in the same class together, and they would try to like coordinate with me, hey, can we both jump on at this time and help out? And you can help us out, or we can talk through the assignments. It was just a nice way to be able to connect to them, but also it promoted their own self-reflection and self-advocacy, like them reaching out to me and asking for things instead of me making mandatory lessons that maybe 4 out of 29 would attend, and then the rest would feel guilty because they weren't able to attend at those times. So having the office hours is a generally like open block made it, and especially as an AVID skill, you know, we want them to be able to reflect on their grades. We want them to recognize when they need help and ask questions. Having the office hours just made it a really good time for them to be able to jump in and ask what was on their mind. And then also you could personalize, you know, what you were doing to the specific students who joined in to ask, versus having something totally set up in your mind and then coming in and asking a totally different question and just being kind of thrown off. I was kind of ready to tackle whatever questions they had.
Another thing a couple teachers did too is that they would be like, okay, like you let me know a Zoom time and you can like invite 4 of your friends, even if they're not in like the same course together, to encourage kids to get on Zoom and like get on to do a lesson. And some teachers saw a lot of success with that also. So now this is where we're going to kind of open up our own Canvas classes just to show you how we've done some things. But again, this is our office hours for tomorrow. It'll be for an hour. If there's something that you really, or like, I really want to see how you did this, send us an email and let us know, you know, something that you're thinking about. Here's the meeting ID and the password. If it goes over 12 o'clock, we're more than happy to stay on or schedule another time with you. But that is for tomorrow. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just open up our own classes to show you. So this is my ELA class. I have them do their ELA and their AVID assignments in the same class, so they're not clicking back and forth to 2 things because they're 6th grade and I think they're still like little. But same thing. So all these things on the left-hand side, I've erased from their view. So when they sign on, they only see the modules, announcements, and grades. And then when they go into their module, so like for example, this is the first one that I have popped up, so they're not even going to see this because it's not published. But what we were talking about with our kids to see is that they have to complete all items in a module. So in the beginning, we were kind of like setting up a quiz, a reading, here's an assignment you can post, here's a discussion you can add to, and the kids were just like picking what they thought was easier. Another thing that we've noticed too is having the kids do things in quiz format, even if you're not going to grade it as a quiz. That has been a lot more helpful for kids because it's a lot of them are doing it on their phone or on their tablet still, and that's like hard to open up the other assignment options. So one example from this past week is that I did for our story. So for this week of May 26th, they started with Tuesday, Wednesday because we had Monday off. I labeled like step 1, do this, step 2, do the graphic organizer, and then step 3 was, even though it's a quiz, it's just in the quiz format. So It's a little bit more work on the teacher end to put things in the quiz, breaking it down by question, but like people at our building have done writing guided where the kids have to break down and do their claim, their evidence, and their reasoning in 3 different questions, and the teacher posts a video for each question. Our math teachers have been posting videos for notes, and then they ask the kids to stop and jot kind of an answer each question, and those are their notes rather than it being a quiz. What I did for my kiddos was, instead of them, because they're terrible typers, like even when we were in school, it took them like 2 periods to type an essay, and I'm like, no. I gave them sample CERs to grade, so they were still interacting with the whole protocol of doing a claim, evidence, and reasoning, but they had to go through and grade it. So for example, what is the author's purpose in the final 2 paragraphs? And then this was a video that I did and embedded it for my kids. So your job with this question is to think about what the question, just like my voice, because that's another option when you're creating an assignment, is there's a little play button and you can record your voice or you can record yourself. So the kids had to go through and grade it. They had to grade each example and give it a 2, a 1, or a 0. So instead of them writing it, it's almost like they're doing an error analysis. And then when you are editing your modules, this is where you're going to go over here to the 3 dots on the right hand side. So again, the green means everything is published, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this now. So I'm going to click edit, and then there's a prerequisite, which means like if I don't want them to do this until they do a previous module, that's what you would click there, and they would have to do another module. Or this is what's been very helpful, is that you're forcing the kids to do things in the order that you've organized them. So they can't do the quiz from Friday and then go back to the modeling on Monday and then jump to Wednesday. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna click this where it says students must complete all the requirements. And if you want them to go in order, then you're gonna click students must move through requirements in sequential order. The other piece that's awesome too is that for the first page, like my directions page, I can click that there, and then it'll make it that they physically have to view that page before they go to the next thing. And then you also can set it that they have to contribute to the page or mark it as done for them to go on to the next assignment. And then if I want to add another one, then I just hit add requirement, pick another assignment. So like, let's say I want them to do the multiple choice before they do their project at the end. They have to submit the assignment. You also could make it that they have to score a 3 out of 3 before they move on to the next thing. This is where you're kind of forcing your kids to do things in the order that you would want them in, just like if you set up stations or a playlist in your classroom with must-dos and may-dos. So that's a nice thing that we've learned kind of by trial and error of having the kids do it this way. And then that would pop up at the top just for them to see that they have to complete all the items. Just to kind of go in and talk about the videos. So this was something that got created for STAR ELA. So here was our directions for our kids for them to do STAR. They go ahead and click the next on the button. And then this is where I gave them some windows, and then I linked the Zoom link to the class for that day. And then here were the steps. But then this is the video from YouTube that we linked on here that got made. So if I was going to go in and edit this to show you how we got the video with the different ways with YouTube, is that there's insert edit media, there's a link, there's embed an image, which is the way that we embedded our Bitmojis, and then the record and upload media. Also, this little funky triangle thing here, that's where you can find your external tool and click on YouTube right there to find your YouTube videos. That's like the recommended way to make it work for the, Yes, Ryan's on YouTube. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, there's our plug for the day. That this will work for kids. So what we did was that when you do insert media, you take the link. So if I was gonna go to Gak's page, I would copy and paste the link. I would paste it here, and then I would hit okay, and then that's how it shows up in this forum. So the kids are just clicking play, and it's not taking them to YouTube. And then again, you can find things that are a little bit more public this way. You click on YouTube, and then you'll be able to search anything that you want to be, like, let's just do the math careers because we did that for Avid. And then hopefully some things will pop up that you can embed right there into your assignment. And that works a little bit better too for our like browser and our internet purposes. The other thing too is that, like, let's say you record something on Zoom and then you save it to your computer. That's where you're going to go ahead and you're going to do record or upload media. So right now I could record myself talking in the YouTube thing, hit recording and record my face, or I could just do my voice. I did that the other day because I was sitting outside watching my son. Or you can upload the video file. So if I click this, then I could go into my Zoom folder, which is how things are saved, and then click on one of the MP4s right here and then upload it that way. So those are a few different ways to upload videos. Another thing also, just to talk about how we've kind of embedded everything through Canvas, is for one of our Avid modules, we did an article about HBCUs. We were doing some college exploration, and instead of me telling kids to go to Newsela, I found this article in Newsela. I picked the reading level that I thought it would access most of our kids. I copy and pasted it into their quiz. And then when I was editing the quiz, I was taking the quiz from Newsela and just copying, pasting the questions into the questions. So then that means that the kids can still do it. It's already graded for me. That's another plus for the quizzes, is that you just have to click on the kid's name in SpeedGrader and their percentage shows up. You don't have to really grade anything unless you do like a short response. Are there any questions about anything that we kind of talked about, or anything anybody else wants to like see specifically? Or Gak, am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so. One thing I do too with the text headers, for example, as you can see, kind of her text headers are for examples, or maybe or for directions, or maybe even for like the days that you complete it. Sometimes that's how I offer my students choice. Because in my class we did a lot of choice activities where I might provide 2 and they could pick which one. So I'll use the text headers to tell them, of these 2 assignments, choose one. And so when they go in, they read the direction, they see that they only have to choose one, and it's easier to do that than it is to go in and to like write, it's a choice activity in the directions for each, because a lot of times they'll end up doing both when they don't have to. So yeah, as you can see for this one.
Yeah. So right here, so what we did was we did a college, like our first college exploration. So again, the kids had the directions here. They had their first activity, and then this is the text header. So when you go into plus, you choose text header, and then you just type in whatever you want to type in there. And then it saves like this, and then the kids know like choice 1, choice 2, and they only have to pick one or the other. And then in this module, this is where Gak and I would make it that they have to read the directions, but they don't have to complete everything, because obviously they're not going to do both choices if they only have to choose one.
Yeah, I offered choice for a lot of CERs. So they're still practicing their CER skills, but they're choosing which question they feel most comfortable answering, which I find too, even when, you know, we are so distanced and we're far apart from them, making it so that they have to do every assignment, especially when they don't know. And like I said, again, some of my kids are logging in at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and they maybe don't feel comfortable like reaching out and messaging me, asking me questions. If they do have the choice between 2 questions to answer, then they at least like, they can pick which one they feel more comfortable doing. And if they read one and they're like, wow, I really don't know how to answer that one, at least there's another option for them to maybe succeed.
Would you suggest this is a way to differentiate as well, instead of giving them 2 different assignments? If you had like a Newsela article that were at different Lexiles, would you do it the same way, or do you have any suggestions as to how to best do that?
Yep. So when you create an assignment, so just as an example before I forget, because I have to find it, but this is just another example of, I'm not going to forget, how I did a screen recording of Canvas and uploaded it into the directions. And then a way for us to have the kids post, like if they have any questions is that they have to post on the discussion if they have a question, or they physically had to say, I have no questions. So they all had to type that, but at least I know that they watched it. So to address the differentiation piece. So if I was going to create a new assignment, so what I'm going to do is I'll add a new assignment in here. And I'll make it like a discussion because there was something else I wanted to show everybody with the discussions. So if I'm going to do a discussion, I'll do end of the year. I'm going to add it. After I do that and I click on it to edit, you can make your Canvas activities only shown to certain kids. So like, let's say in this class, I copy and pasted a Newsella article that was like a 500 Lexile. And I was like, oh, well, this is my blue group because I did colors. So I would type in my assignment in the box, and then down here where if I add it to student to do and it's graded, instead of it saying everyone, this is where you can X out of that. And I can type in specific kids' names. So only those kids are going to see that blue group assignment on their Canvas page. So if I know that this is my small group that needs the 500 Lexile, I'm going to assign it just to them. And then I'm going to just do my due date the way that I want it to be by the end of the week. And then I'm going to save and publish it.
And they're not going to be able to see the red group and the green group. They will only see the blue group because you've only assigned it to them.
On your end, you're going to see like 5 different groups if you have that, because that's the teacher side, but the kids are only going to see whatever group they're shown to.
So I have a question. Are you going to share this recording with us?
Yep.
Okay, beautiful.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted us to like talk about that we didn't see? It is a lot, and this has really been like 12 weeks of us doing trial and error with our kids, and our kids use Canvas when we were in the building in our classrooms, and even like going home, like the kids that we were like, okay, you're the geek squad, you're in charge of helping other people, they struggled going home because it's almost like that you're not there as the physical reminder, and like the structures that you've put in place for your classroom aren't there anymore. So it was really hard, and I like was a little taken aback because I'm like, oh my God, well, my kids all knew this in September, October, November, December, January, February, but now they don't. So, but yes, we are going to send out the recording, and then again, office hours tomorrow. You're more than welcome to come and ask us to help you with anything.
Just as a follow-up to that differentiation question, when you put it in as specific students, when you go back to your dashboard, they'll still be within their specific class, they'll just have a different assignment?
So when they click on this assignment, so like, for example, these are all the things that I did, and then I unpublished them as the week went on because this was the Monday Zoom window, and kids on Thursday were clicking on Monday. So whatever has the green check mark next to it is what the kids are going to see. So I'm going to go into student view for you. So even though I had a Zoom class for every single day for STAR, only a couple of them are published now. So when I go onto my student view and I go to my modules, they only can see these 2. So then if they were in the blue group, they would see blue group activity here or red group activity here. And that's what would show up for them and whoever else is in that group. Does it answer your question? I think.
It does, thank you.
Okay. Anything else that you guys are wondering, thinking about, want to see more of? You thought you were coming to this PD and you were going to learn something and you didn't learn it? Hopefully not.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Why am I that person right now?
That's okay.
Love it.
So
And you have a precious little baby we can look at too, so you're fine.
Oh, yeah, well,
Hello.
I'm trying to feed her so she's quiet. We were trying to, like you said, keep everything in Canvas so that kids didn't have to go, like, download something, go into Office 365 and come back in. Other than using the quiz function, have you found a great way to embed graphic organizers that kids can actually interact with?
So,
Yes.
yes. So, all right. So now my son wants to say hello because he saw your baby. Say hi. There's a baby there.
Usually waves. Oh, there you go. Hi.
So we went back and forth with this because Gak and I both took the Edpuzzle course and the Office 365 course, and that's like a whole other level of work in Canvas. You totally can make graphic organizers in 365 and then embed it into Canvas, and then you can grade it right in there as the speed grader. Because that was my problem too, is that like we kind of took away our kids' Avid strategies because every single day we're like, get out your Cornell notes, get out your 2-column notes, get out your 3-column notes, get out your graphic organizer, and they didn't have any of it. So
Marlise, can you share, or can you let me share my screen?
Mhm.
I can pull one of those up.
Well, I know Kristen Sala, our Avid teacher in ELA, was shown the way to embed those things. But we started having a lot of difficulty just in the past few weeks and actually being able to do it and submit it. So it might be the same thing she was doing, but.
So again, like this is my classroom. Again, there's my cat. I have them go into the modules link. And okay, so one example I did for extra credit for students who like came in late. I did a press conference. And so here's me embedding a YouTube link of an actual Governor Cuomo press conference, and then they could use PowerPoint. You just have to click edit in browser. And when you click edit in browser, and like I did mine as a PowerPoint, but you could do this with Microsoft Word also. If you provide them tables or text box to write in, they could write in it. So it was a nice way to be able to create a graphic organizer and then give them space to write in.
Okay, we're gonna come to your office hours because we could not get PowerPoint to work that way. We had to like download it and then re-upload it. So we're gonna visit.
And the other thing too is like I created something for our Avid teachers to do, and I did it. It was on a PowerPoint, and like I didn't put text boxes, so it didn't work. And then some of the funky stuff that we've been playing around with is like if I make an assignment with Edpuzzle and it's embedded in the external tool and I share it to the Commons and then someone shares it back, they can't open it because it has to be on their Edpuzzle account. So that might be something too where like on 360, and like I'm a Google person, not 365, so it might be something like in the document it's not public or like the link isn't public. But you gotta like play around with it though. But like we've been doing this and it has been amazing, but there has been some hiccups along the way. Like it hasn't been perfect at all.
So we experienced the same thing with Edpuzzle in the fact that some of the kids could get through, other kids couldn't, or there was already an Edpuzzle up and running, but it wouldn't take the class link. So because they all have to have a class link to be part of that class. So we've run into different variations of it.
Can I ask, did you do it through the external tool on Canvas, or did you send them to like your Edpuzzle class on the Edpuzzle website?
We did it, so it was my class or the class, and then we put it into Canvas doing the external tool.
I know.
But anytime they did anything, it never showed up that it was completed.
Let's look at it tomorrow, and then you can share your screen and see it. Because it really had, like, even Lori said when we went to the PD, she's like, depending on the day, Canvas and Edpuzzle just won't talk to each other. And, like, that's the most frustrating thing, like, with this is that I don't sometimes think, I wish that Canvas had some other options that Google offers, or, like, Seesaw even offers, but it is kind of, like, finicky. And Amber, I don't know if you want to, like, jump in because it is kind of funky, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can jump in there. I was kind of multitasking, but I was listening. So for Edpuzzle, I may have missed a little bit though. I caught the tail end of that. It was being really cranky. Edpuzzle had an issue on their end that they were working on cleaning up. They have told us that it is all good to go now. There is a connectivity aspect though. So if you're having that issue, you need to disconnect from your SCSD account, and you can do that right in Edpuzzle. You can sign up for a one-to-one with any of the coaches. We can show you how to do it. And then you simply disconnect, refresh, and then you reconnect. and it seems to clear up whatever issue that was happening in the Edpuzzle end of the account. So they are aware and they're fixing it. Does that answer your question? Okay, good, just making sure.
Is there anything else anybody else wanted to see or ask or anything at all? This is when it gets awkward. Because it's all we're just staring at your guys' faces and like.
We will be in office hours too. If you want to ask something particularly here, we'll both be there and are ready to kind of help you through, or even just figure out, you know, if there are any of these ideas that you do want to be able to implement into your class, no matter what subject or grade level you're working with. Like, we're happy to help you come up with a plan for that. Thank you.
But thank you everybody for coming. This was so nice. I hope that we helped everyone and gave some good info.
Great work, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. It was
Thank you.
awesome.
you.
All right, Mads, I'm gonna jump off and then, because I got my kindergarten one.
Have fun.
All right, good job. Hi, Miss Rio. Hi, Debbie.
You were fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, there was so